Interesting. So, follow the line guideposts? As intricate as ever, I see, Kinzo. I wasn't complaining anymore. I felt a bit of respect and awe at Kinzo for setting up such an intricate device and having it go undiscovered for all these years. There were lion statues standing like guardian deities at the entrance and the corners of the chapel. The direction they faced had changed, pointing around the block, around to the back of the chapel. There was something there. Ho. It was no longer a surprise. This was after the contraption with the letters. After being guided by the lions. So when a gaping, open, secret passageway appeared, with stairs leading down to the darkness below, it wasn't surprising to me anymore. So, is this the entrance to the Golden Land, Kinzo? Did you find it? Grandfather's gold? Yes. It took ages and ages, but I had reached the Golden Land. According to the previous games, there was an underground VIP room there, along with 10 tons of gold, right? Yes. After going down a rough stairway, there was a door at the end of the passage. Inside, it was a beautifully furnished... It was a true VIP room. And was the gold all you found there? Yes. At the time, it would be a lie to say that I was not dizzied by the sight of all that gold stacked high. Is this real? I lightly touched the pile of gold with my finger. It was hard and cold. I must have imagined that it would crumble like sand castle if I touched it. Now, there could be no doubt. This certainly was a 10-ton pile of gold ingots. Ha ha ha! Considering the amount of gold I had just found, I figured I ought to be crying out in delight. I didn't really feel like laughing, but I thought it only good manners to do so in a situation like this, so I forced it out. Because of this, only a few feeble laughs slipped from my mouth. At that moment, even stronger than any delight was a feeling that as though I'd entered a place I wasn't supposed to be. I couldn't think of what I should do next, now that the epitaph's riddle had been completed. Then I heard approaching footsteps. It was coming from the stairway I'd entered by. Someone was coming. Could it be Kinzo? If he finds out I've been in a place like this, will I get scolded harshly? I thought about hiding and forgetting this ever happened, but my legs wouldn't move. I kept standing there, stunned, in front of the pile of gold. I wonder if there was an alarm set somewhere, like if this door opens, like there's a small alarm in Kinzo's study, like, wait, someone opened the... As the footsteps drew closer and closer, the door opened, and I saw who it was. It wasn't Kinzo. Ellipses, multiple dots indicating silence. You? Did you reach this place by your power alone? Indeed. For some time, Genji stared at Beato in silence, as though he was calculating something. Then he slowly clapped his hands together. It took quite a long time before I realized that he was applauding me. The master has said that he will hand over the gold and the headship to the first person who solves the epitaph, and he believed that this person would be Beatrice. Beatrice? Me? This is fate. It is fate that brought you to this day. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. So Genji, what are you humming? Nothing. I didn't really understand what Genji was saying. Or when he started humming the Terminator theme, which to a movie that had not come out yet. Surely, the shock of seeing the gold still had me paralyzed. Come this way. Okay. Genji opened a closet. Inside it was a torso wearing a beautiful dress made of black cloth and golden stitching. When I saw it, I understood immediately it was the witch's dress, the black dress worn by the Beatrice in the portrait. Change into this. Okay, Genji. You know a lot of things about Sayo Yasuda, about Shannon. That should make this seem like a very poor decision. It is something you once wore. I've never worn a dress like this, however, I understood what Genji meant. This dress was one that Beatrice once wore, and the one who displays a miracle by solving the epitaph is Beatrice. By reaching this room, I succeeded the position of the real Beatrice, the one in the portrait. Why do I call myself Beatrice? Because the name of the Golden Witch who rules over Rakanjima's night is Beatrice, that's right. I wasn't the real Beatrice. I was a different witch, stealing the name of the witch from Kinzo's delusions, and now I have succeeded the real Beatrice. By solving the epitaph's riddle, my resurrection will be complete. I was the one who decided on that rule. However, this really was a ceremony to resurrect Beatrice. In the past, I believed that I could create my own fate with my magic. How ironic that the one who could control magic at will would be guided by fate to this place. At that moment, I had no choice but to truly accept and believe in this word called fate. And after I put this on, you will go to the master. Genji. Okay, I know we're breaking the flow of the story. But keep in mind, Shannon here, who has paranoid schizophrenia and is Tyler Durden from Fight Club, and has like 12 different personalities. But James McAvoy would be, you know, probably the one playing this role. I'm just saying. Kinzo had a wife and 4 kids. He went off to the military, met the original Beatrice, who was escaping from Nazi Italy. Technically, Benito Mussolini's Italy, shortly before Nazi Germany would collapse, and everyone died, and Beatrice was the daughter of a very rich aristocrat in the Italian high military stuff, who had escaped with, well, all of the money. Kinzo then had an affair on his wife with Beatrice, who then died shortly after having a child. He then raised that daughter as Beatrice. He raped his own daughter, got her pregnant, then Rosa eventually encountered his daughter and accidentally got her killed because she'd been raised in a very sheltered, abused way. And then Kinzo then wanted to make amends, so he decided to have the grandson born to his daughter that he forced himself on to be raised by Natsui, the wife of his eldest son, who was struggling to conceive at that time. And the original plan in the one of 3 million universes where, you know, Natsui doesn't throw him off a fucking cliff, raises the grandson as Leon Ushiromiya. This is Beatrice. This is Beatrice. This is Beatrice. Initially, Sayo Yasuda is raised, supposed to be, like, he gifts his grandson's son to Natsui, who was trouble having kids. She eventually had Jessica. Kinzo. His 4 children. Rudolph's second wife, but is actually the mom, the biological mother of Ushiromi Battler, but he sees her as a stepmother because neither of these two know they're actually related. Main point is this. The baby, the incest baby, is supposed to be raised by Natsui as their child. And he is supposed to be raised as Leon Ushiromiya. However, Natsui basically throws the baby off a cliff, and the baby's left for dead. Genji finds the very badly hurt baby who barely survives and takes Naja, and the baby's going to live. But we don't tell Kenzo about the baby's survival because we're still worried that when the baby gets older, that Kenzo will force himself on the grandchild, molesting the grandchild. So then we send the baby, who has been horribly injured from falling off a cliff, to be raised in an orphanage. And then we bring that child out of the orphanage to work as a servant here. Also, this child was now raised as a woman, even though they were born as a boy. And they're technically Sayo Yasuda, who develops multiple split personalities, such as Shannon and Cannon, and multiple Beatrices. We have someone who already has mental instability, has lived in a situation of isolation. Everyone in the Ushiromi family tends to treat her like fucking shit, except George, who just he only got interest in her because she was the one who ignored him. Like all the other servants, like George would go around flirting with all the servants because they would want to flirt with him because they're trying to garner favor, flattery and shit. They don't actually like George. They just want to be, in a better position in the family as servants. But they have no interest in actually trying to be in a relationship with him. However, Shannon initially ignores George because she's in love with Battler, but Battler disappears for a while because Rudolph's an asshole. And everyone else in this family is dysfunctional as fuck. Then George moves in on Shannon because she's the only one not paying attention to him. But then he doesn't actually care about her. But he's willing to do everything, but that's more so just spiting Ava on shit. And here's the thing, at one point we mentioned Ava's was trying to set him up with an arranged marriage. Do we ever meet that arranged fiance who I'm pretty sure George is eventually just going to kick Shannon to the curb for? And then Shannon will be a little bit upset. Keep in mind, this is Shannon. This is Canon. This is Leon. This is Sayo. We have someone who's already developed severe paranoid schizophrenia and multiple split personalities and severe depression. Also, Genji, Kumasawa, and Nanjo are all aware that you are actually Sayo Yasuda, that you are Leon Ushiromiya, that you are Kenzo's incest baby grandson's son that fell off a fucking cliff. All of them know this. You don't know this. Kenzo doesn't know this. No one else knows this. But you all know not only this person's true identity, but you, multiple times it's been shown that Genji, looks at Shannon and Cannon having a conversation crossways. Not because he's looking down on their conversation, but because it's one person having multiple conversations with themselves, completely unaware that, the person's more Tyler Durden than Tyler Durden. And keep in mind, we've seen Tyler Durdenism in Ava, and in Natsui, and in multiple of the other characters. I feel like there's a genetic problem. Hell, I feel like the AI art I use for thumbnails is on par, because sometimes I'll get 6 fingers on a person, and technically Kenzo's got polydactyl, so technically the AI art is not being an error, it's being faithful to the recreation. And I'll say this. I do agree that anytime you have additions to something, you should be faithful to the original, inspiration. For example, say if you took Sherlock Holmes. If you made a TV show about Sherlock Holmes, you should actually read Sherlock Holmes and make something that's faithful to that adaptation. The further you stray away from the author, you become much more not what was originally intended. Don't get me wrong, you might still get a good story in its own right, but it's going to be different from what the original thing is, and especially if people come to the new, thing because they love the original. I mean, if you change too much of the original, it's not the same thing anymore. I mean, it might still be good, but then again, the definition of good usually depends on your audience. Like, for example, if you like chocolate, that's good. But if you add a bunch of chili flakes in a chocolate, like, it's still technically chocolate, but it's just... Now, granted, there's some people that love that. And heck, I'm someone, I like lots of chocolate. I'm fat for a fucking reason, guys. I'm 5'11" and 201 pounds. I am 180 centimeters tall and 91 kilograms. I have never had a six-pack in my life. One day I won't be fat. But in the meantime, I enjoy eating pizza and drinking Pepsi. Main point being is this. I like chocolate a lot, and I like spicy things. But the two of those things mixed together, I think, is gross and disgusting. It's kind of like, I think milk is delicious. I think Pepsi is delicious. I think both of them together is an abomination. It's not how that works. It doesn't taste right. But, heck, I will say this. An interesting thing for a St. Patrick's Day thing, even though I'm not Irish, I am 47% Scottish and 47% English. The other 6% is just like Western European. Like German, Italian, stuff like that. But I'm pretty much almost entirely just English and Scottish, even though I've never been to Europe at all. I'm an American. Though I am very easily burned in the sunlight. I have like the same skin complexion as Beato there. Which means if I go outside in the sun for too long without sunblock, I will burn. I do not have the superpower known as... I'm like one step away from being a vampire, except for vampires are like... have youth and power and stuff, or charisma or good looks. And I have none of that. Anyway, back to the point of the story. Anyway, you guys know, one, that this is Kinzo's grandchild and his son from Beatrice. You guys also know that despite being a blood successor of the family, you've raised them as in an orphanage, and then they've been working here as a servant, where they get treated like shit. Like Natsui, who was supposed to be his adoptive mother, treats him like shit. Also, he's been raised as a girl. You all know this. Nanjo Kumasawa Genji, you know this person was born as a boy and raised as a girl. This is like the story of Bridget, but with magic. And also, I guess, a really old guy that does incest rape stuff. Then again, I mean, it's probably not the first time you guys have heard about a story about there's an island with rich people that do immoral things. I mean, at least cannibalism doesn't exist on this island, right? 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 Or, witchcraft or sick. Oh, right, that stuff definitely. Well, fuck. I mean, multiple times in this story, people get 5 Nights at Freddy'd. Everyone's like, that's not a verb. It is a verb now. You guys ever listen to the song Tearing Away by Drowning Pool? That's a good band. I'm tearing away. Pieces are falling. I can't seem to make them stay. You run away. Faster and faster, I can't seem to get away. Break! I don't care about anyone else at all. I don't care about anything or anyone but me. I don't know. Does anyone else remember Drowning Pool? I feel like I keep getting distracted. Again, do I have autism? Do I have ADHD? Do I have borderline personality disorder? Do I have disorganized thinking? Do I have depression? Am I an otaku? Am I a weeb? Do I look at a lot of futanari and femboy hentai? It's like, be really odd. Like, okay, guys, we're gonna play yaoi video games, and now we're gonna talk about how Kairi Ushiromiya is extremely pretty, and her tits are awesome, and she looks like Ivy from Soul Calibur, the fighting game. She also looks like Kaoru Nagisa from Evangelion, the original version, because they made a bunch of remakes, which again, not bad. I mean, it's nice to have reimaginings of things, but I like the original better. It's like I watched the new Mortal Kombat 2 movie recently, like about a month or something ago, whenever it came out, and I'll tell you this, it's okay. It's definitely very gory. It's definitely much more violent and gory, and got more death and blood and stuff than the original Mortal Kombat's. But I'll say this. The Mortal Kombat 2 movie was better than the Mortal Kombat 2021 movie. But I would still say Mortal Kombat Annihilation was better than the new Mortal Kombat movie. Though, obviously, the original Mortal Kombat was much, 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 much better. I'm just saying, the very original Mortal Kombat, where Liu Kang fights Shang Tsung at the end, Shang Tsung at the very end, definitely like that a lot better. Anyway, back to the story. You guys all know this is Kinzo's blood child, incest baby. You guys also all know that this person was raised as an orphan. You also know that they've been raised, that they're a boy who's been raised as a girl, and that they don't even know that themselves. They don't know any of this shit, aside from the fact that they know they've been an orphan. You also all not only know all this, you see how everyone in this fucking family treats this, person who was thrown off a cliff as a baby. More than that is this. You know this person has severe depression. You, Genji, and Kumasawa, and Ganjo have all seen Shannon talking to herself in split personalities. It's not even subtle about it. Like, it's all obvious to all of you. Like, I mean, at some point before this, you should have been gone to Kinzo and be like, hey, I lied to you about some things, Kinzo, but I did it because I was trying to protect your grandchild. Your grandchild survived falling off a cliff. However, they were horribly damaged, and they've been getting raised as a girl in an orphanage, and then they came to work here for you. That Shannon, that's your grandchild. It's also your grandson. They don't know this. That being said, your grandchild has severe depression, probably partly because they were raised in an orphanage and they work as a servant for people that treat them like shit. But more importantly is this. Pretty sure... No, I'm not a doctor. No, Nanjo's not that kind of doctor. But we're absolutely 1,000% certain that your grandson has severe depression and split personalities and is very out of their fucking mind. At their core, they're a good person and they're kind. But they're severely fucking broken and have paranoid schizophrenia. Like, they are hallucinating shit and they are talking to themselves. And they think of themselves as multiple people. We need to just be open about this to the whole family. Be like, hey, this is Kinzo's biological child. And there are severe problems here. And we need to just take responsibility for this. And incorporate this person into the family proper. Treat them as a proper family member. And, just be honest about where the gold is. Because that way it can actually probably be used for the heir of Beatrice as it's meant to be, as you want it to be. And we'll probably spend at least 1/10 of it on therapists. Then again, I mean, you could have just gone to Natsui initially and be like, hey, I mean, granted, there's the one universe where Leon Ushiromi got raised by Natsui and it worked out well, but considering that's 1 of 3 million, yeah, that's too much of a probability to put a child in such a dangerous circumstance. You should have just been like, okay, you want them to have a normal life at the same time, you know, you need to make sure they don't get thrown off a fucking cliff. So, you should have just went to Natsui and be like, hey, Natsui, I understand you've been having trouble conceiving, and I still expect you're going to keep trying to conceive a child with Kraus. And that's fine. If you have kids with Kraus in the future, that's awesome. Feel free to have 20 of them. I'll love all of them. But I want you to raise this baby as your first child, and this baby will be the actual successor of our family. Also, I want you to take proper care of this child. I understand your pride will be a little hurt by raising a child that's not yours. I understand how you feel about Natsui. You know, that way, after all, anyone who pays any slight amount of attention can see where that's going to go before you throw the baby off a cliff. So, just going to be honest with you. This baby is my biological child. I'm not going to tell you what the circumstances, but here recently, as an old motherfucker, I got someone pregnant, that person's dead. I want you to raise the baby. It is actually my son. Also, if you don't take proper care of this child, I'm killing everyone on the island. Or I'm giving all the money away to charity. Like, you have to actually take care of this child. Like, it's not like you won't be properly taken care of. Like, you'll have access to all the gold. You guys will be fine. I'm just saying, my priority is the child gets well taken care of. And is loved. And it's not like the rest of everyone needs to know exactly what happened, like, with this. I mean, you don't have to tell the child, like, they're my son or whatever. But you need to take care of the kid. And take care of them well. Or I'm burning down the island. But anyway, back to what I was saying about Genji. The whole reason you hid, you know, the survival of the incest baby from Kinzo is because, you know, after Kinzo had his affair on his wife and his mistress died, he dressed his own daughter, the child of the mistress, as the mistress, and then literally had a delusion that his daughter was her own mother, and fucked his daughter as a replacement for the mother. You then hid the grandson out of a worry that when that grandson would be older, that Kinzo would make a similar mistake again. And keep in mind, he's had a lot of years where he's like, says he regrets this and he's really emotionally upset about it. You purposefully hid the fact that the child survived out of a worry that Kinzo would rape his grandchild, who at that point was just the grandson. Now, this grandson, who has been raised as a woman, you are now going to dress in the clothes of his dead mistress / dead mistress daughter mistress, and going to bring this person in front of Kinzo. Do you not see how this is going to result in Kinzo forcing himself on his own grandchild? And then there has to be the revelation afterward that, hey, Kinzo, guess what? That's actually your grandson. Son. It was already your incest baby. The only reason you didn't get that person pregnant you just raped, who, let's be clear, even if they weren't related to you, it's still your servant working for you, and you're like 60-something years old. I don't think your sperm work anymore. And this person's a servant, so it's obviously like, you know, regardless of the fact that they get the gold and you're becoming a successor, it's like definitely an abuse of authority here. And definitely, like, in any regard, still kind of rape. Let alone the fact that it's already your incest baby to begin with, let alone your grandchild. So you're incesting the incest baby. With rape. The only reason Shannon isn't getting pregnant with more incest baby is because Shannon lacks ovaries. Or uterus. And it's certainly not like... And here's the thing, the fact that Shannon, Beatrice, Cannon, like, they don't understand that. And once again, this person already has split personalities and paranoid schizophrenia and hallucinates and talks to themselves a bunch. And has severe depression, isolation. And has, like, no real emotional stability or support groups. And then Kenzo's going to do something very, very not nice. But I'm just saying, like, the whole point you hid for things and the way you did was to prevent Kenzo from doing certain things because you didn't trust him. You explicitly felt that he would do bad things. And now you're literally setting it up like on a silver platter for the bad things to occur. And I mean, it's like, do you really expect that Sayo Yasuda is going to be able to emotionally cope with everything that, you know, he is going to learn? It's like, because keep in mind, like, it's not like Sayo Yasuda was able to make the choice themselves about anything. You know, these decisions happened by chance and circumstance, also Natsui being a bitch, when they were a baby. So again, not only would it be a huge surprise to a person, but the fact is this. Whether we're talking about Leon, Shannon, Sayo, Cannon, Beatrice, regardless of what name you use of a person, the main point is this. They didn't have a choice in the matter. And it's not like you can use the gold and be like, okay, so I was like, okay, so I was a boy, like, okay, I'm gonna use the gold to rebuild me a penis. And build new testicles. Why does this make me think of Cyberpunk 2077? I don't know, remember enough to hum the theme of the Cyberpunk theme. I don't know. I wonder if we'll ever get more DLC for Cyberpunk. I don't know. But I've seen some stuff maybe about Cyberpunk 2, but it doesn't seem very interesting. I'm looking forward to Ananta and Halo Campaign Evolved. And I'm looking forward to Dot Hack Zero. I will say there's also supposed to be Mel Gibson's making a second Passion of the Christ movie. There's Spaceballs 2. Also, I'm hearing something, there's no confirmation of this, but I'm hearing rumors that there's going to be a new Dead or Alive game. So that'd be a new interesting fighting game. And I'm hearing that there's going to be a new Virtua Fighter game. Also, I don't know if I'll buy GTA 6 myself, but I'll probably watch a lot of Let's Plays just because I want to hear, like, I'm pretty sure Asmongold will probably play GTA 6, and I'm like, I want to see what kind of fucking shenanigans he can get up to. Like, particularly, I want to see how the cars handle. How is the driving physics? You will go to the master. Ready yourself. Wait here. Oh, okay. I'm sure this won't go poorly at all. But yeah, I mean, it's not like this is gonna result in the circumstance of the thumbnail for this video. You know, like Shannon's gonna be like, you know, Beatrice, she realized she's not built for this. But yeah, it's like Sayo Yasuda learning that she's an incest baby. She's the true heir to the family she works for. Her boss tried to abort her off a cliff. She's transgender. She can't have children. She's related to all three of her crushes. She's 75% Kinzo. And she's Italian. All on the same day. I mean, heck, I was saying in the past, like, how, like, Kairi and Ivy and Kaoru all are, like, apparently French. I'm just saying this. Yes. Also yes. Also yes. Ice cream. Dairy Queen. You know that... going to Dairy Queen. Let's all go to Dairy Queen, guys. Master, it is Genji. After Genji knocked, the sound of the study's door unlocking could be heard. After a single glance telling me to wait, Genji entered alone. I cannot believe that this day has come. Fate can be such a strange thing. Kumasawa was with us too. Is Nanjo here? I thought this dress, which didn't really suit me, would lead to a lot of jokes, but she didn't laugh at me at all. On the contrary, when she saw me, her expression had turned stern, as though a long-awaited day had finally come. And yet none of you prepared for this well. My heart raced. Supposedly anyone should have been able to solve the epitaph. There shouldn't be anything strange about me solving it. Genji and the others kept wearing serious expressions, and that, along with everything else, made this feel like some sort of grand ceremony. The suffocating silence continued. Eventually the door opened and Genji peeked out. Enter Beatrice-sama. He was saying those words to me, but not to the person I had been until a short while ago. I'm sure nothing will go wrong at all. Go ahead, Beatrice-sama. Kumasawa also urged me forward, with a respectful bow. Kinzo was probably waiting for me inside. What expression should I wear as I go in? How should I greet him? I don't have a clue. As the two of them motioned me forward, it was all I could do to avoid tripping over my dress as I walked. Kinzo-san, she is here. Kinzo was crouched on the ground as though kneeling before the portrait of Beatrice. Again, Nanjo! You, Genji, and Kumasawa all know that Sayo Yasuda is Leon Ushiromiya. That this is Kinzo's biological child. Grandchild. Multiple... This child is both Krause's brother and his uncle. He is both Battler's cousin and his uncle. At Nanjo's words, he slowly turned, still crouching. Oh, I mean, he did say he was going to apologize, nothing else, right? Oh, Kinzo's eyes were already red with crying. When he saw me, he groaned with wonder. Beatrice, Beatrice, Had he even forgotten how to stand up? He crawled over to where I was, while calling out to me with the same name of the woman he had loved long ago. I was too stunned to move. Kinzo grabbed the hem of my dress, gripped it tightly, then curled up and sobbed. This reminds me of Jesus. Beatrice, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I knew how you felt, and yet I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please. Please forgive me. So far, this is good. Ish. Confusion. The words weren't directed at me. However, just standing here like this was all I needed to do. Kinzo's movement of atonement, the moment he had spent half of his life searching for, had finally come. A human's life is stained with sin, so humans seek forgiveness while they still live. However, in most cases, the person capable of granting such forgiveness is no longer on this earth. It was like that for Kinzo too. The one who he sought no longer existed in this world. Instead, that forgiveness had been woven together by a miracle, and now Kinzo had received it. Oh, Beatrice. Beatrice. You need not forgive me. You need not say anything. I simply needed to apologize to you just once. Kinzo kept grasping the dress's hem and sobbing. The sins of humans are not forgiven from without. Forgiveness is found through regret and repentance. I want to believe that some sin, some fault of his has been forgiven, thanks to the way I look. Kinzo's sobbing gradually ceased, and he slowly looked up at me and rose. He looked unsteady. Nanjo rushed forward to support him, as he died of a heart attack, and then burst into flames. So, I see that you are alive. I'm glad. This time, these words weren't directed through me, but at me. I hesitated, unsure how I should respond. I beg your forgiveness for keeping this a secret from you for all this time. So, have you told him that, that this is Leon? That this is Leon standing in front of him? Granted, Leon does not know he is Leon. No matter. I do not fault you, Genji, considering the sin that I committed every single day until now has been necessary for my atonement. However, there can be no doubt that today's miracle is a true one. By her own power, without anyone's help, she solved the epitaph before anyone else. Well done solving such a difficult epitaph. My grandchild that was thrown off a fucking cliff by the woman that's your boss that's kind of a bitch. It's like, hey, the woman you've been working for that's a bitch to you? She tried to abort you. Why did I say that in the Nappa voice from Team 4-Star? Thanks? Indeed. Your voice resembles your mother's. Dun 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 dun. Even your face reminds me of that mother and daughter. There can be no doubt that Beatrice's blood flows through your veins. Yes, the traces of the Lady of Kuadori and her youth are right there. Does my face look like someone else's? Beatrice-sama, please forgive me for keeping this a secret, even from you. I'm sure this won't have a mental breakdown thing occurring. Your parents are Beatrice-sama and the Master. What? It's true. Until now, you have been raised as a child without parents. However, your true father is the Master. Kraus is your brother. Rudolph is your brother. Ava and Rosa are your sisters. Also, you were born a boy. But we raised you in an orphanage because we're dicks. Which you don't have anymore because we're dicks. However, your true father is the Master. Have fun not having a mental breakdown over this. Or a psychotic break. And your true mother is Beatrice-sama. Is that, really? What? Huh? Yes. You truly are a descendant of Beatrice-sama. But she died, so we tried to have you raised by Natsui, who threw you off a cliff, because she's a bitch. So then we raised you in an orphanage, and then brought you as a servant so she could bitch at you, because she's a bitch. Is such a strange fate really possible? I've dreamed about it. Dreamed about what it'd be like to be the Golden Witch Beatrice. But that dream had been mine alone. I dreamed that if I solved the epitaph and carried out its ceremony, I would revive as the true Beatrice. So, is it okay to believe that since I've solved it, Beatrice really has revived? I truly carry Beatrice's blood? Yes, there is no doubt of that whatsoever. It must have been hard for you to live until this day without knowing a parent's affection, and yet look at how wonderfully you've grown. So, you all knew? I'm sure Sayo here is not going to be pissed about this, or feel betrayed, at all. About me? Genji, Kumasawa, and even Nanjum nodded wordlessly. Now that I think about it, there might have been lots of hints. I've always felt as though there was something special about me. Genji, and especially Kumasawa, always treated me very kindly. Then, does that mean that this day is a promised day which would eventually have come, no matter what? I don't understand anything anymore. It's all a miracle from God. A promised fate has led me to this day. Beatrice? No. Leon. This person's and this person's the same person. This person is also this person and this person and this person. This person and this person are the same person. Same. These are all the same person. Still same person. Hi, Leon Ushiromiya. Hi, Beatrice. Hi, Beatrice. Hi, Beatrice. Sayo Yasuda. 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 These are the same person. Hi, Leon. Hi, Sayo. Hi, Shannon. Leon, Sayo, Yasuda, Shannon, Cannon, Beatrice. Leon, Shannon, Sayo, Kaio, fuck. It's... You guys get the point. It's like, nope, you're my grandson's son, incest, baby. You were raised as a girl in an orphanage. And then your boss is the bitch who tried to abort you as a baby. That's... I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure you'll cope with that perfectly fine emotionally. Beatrice, no. Leon. Huh? But that's a boy's name. And a lion. Or Leon. Or a Resident Evil person. That is the name I wanted to give you. It is your true name. Leon. I will now return to you everything that Beatrice gave me. I return to you the gold, as well as everything of the Ushiromiya family, which was created by it. Kinzo stuck out a hand that looked like a rotting tree. On his finger was a ring with a one-winged eagle crest, the symbol the Ushiromiya family had. He pulled it off, grasped it tightly, and then held it out to me. I didn't know what to do. Slowly, as though they were being drawn forward, I held up my hands, palms up. After pressing his fists against my cupped hands, Kinzo slowly opened his hands and let the ring drop. Leon, my child, all the ways your fate has been toyed with until today were caused by my sins. Please, forgive me. You will now inherit my ring. You are the new Ushiromiya family head. All of that gold belongs to you. I ask that you use it as you please, and hope that it will be enough to heal some small part of the pain you have suffered. That trifling amount of gold may be nothing in comparison with the sin I committed. But even so, it should be enough to bring you some comfort. Thank you? Leon? I have one final request. What is that? Could you call me... Sorry? What did you say? Could you call me Father? I understand why you are not able to. I have not been a father to you in any way. Furthermore, you have been raised without knowing anything about a father. I realize that it's not a name you can call me by, and I realize that I have no right to ask this of you. But even with that in mind, please, if I could just hear that, I would have no further regrets. After being asked like that, could I possibly have refused, even if I am his child? I truly cannot acknowledge him as my father, so it felt very strange to say it. And yet, I decided that saying it was the right thing to do. Only God can truly forgive sins. But, for no man can justify his own soul. Everything by the grace of God. Though it may be temporary, people can be saved by the forgiveness of others. Yes? Father? That awkward word made Kinzo laugh. Drops of silver fell from both of his eyes. At that moment, the shadow that had covered his face was wiped away. Thank you, Leon. My child, and Beatrice as well. Thank you for this last chance to ask for forgiveness. Of course, I don't believe that I have been forgiven by this alone. I shall atone for the rest as I burn in the fires of hell. I, Ushiromiya Kinzo, have no more regrets in this life. None at all, no regrets or matters left unfinished. Wahaha. Wahahaha. Looking up to the heavens, Kinzo spread his arms as though facing an applauding audience, laughing at the top of his lungs. It was the final pleasure known only by those who have been released from all the regrets of this world. Kinzo's laugh weakened, and when it disappeared, he dropped to his knees, like a puppet with its strings cut, and slowly fell to the ground. Master? Dr. Nanjo? Yes. Though their master had fallen, they walked up to him slowly. They already knew. Kinzo's soul had already burned itself out. After checking Kinzo's pulse, Nanjo shook his head and stood back up. It was a peaceful death. I don't think he had any regrets at all. I mean, if he hadn't died of the way he hit his knees, he would have been like, my fucking knees! Ah, my old man knees! It may be that the master died long before now. It was only his magic and tenacity that kept him here so long, and he finally had a chance to apologize to Beatrice-sama for everything, and finished everything he had to do. Please, rest in peace. Why does that make me want Reese's Pieces? Everyone's like, stop being fat. I'm like, I want candy. I believe that you have redeemed yourself. Father, that was the one night reunion between me and my father, and also our final farewell. This gold all belongs to you now. If you wish to exchange it for money, I can arrange for that. I hear it's worth 20 billion yen. From here on, any of your dreams in this world can be granted with money. Oh, it must be tough to think of what to do with this much money when it suddenly comes your way. There is nothing I desire among the things money can buy. So for the present, I would like to leave this here. Okay, here's the thing. You like Battler. Use the money to basically buy... I mean, basically you have full authority. So it's like, just call Battler, like, hey, I have all the power to get, like, detectives and stuff, find where you are, call you, and I'm gonna talk to you. Of course, I'm glad I have a lot of money. However, money can't heal the pain in my heart. I just want him to come back. Again, you have the money. I'm not even saying like you buy Battler off. I'm saying any of the legal issues that would have prevented you from contacting Battler are gone. However, it has not dawned on you yet that you are related by blood to Battler. As you wish, then it shall be left here. Also take this key. What is this? It is a key to the underground VIP room. If you use this, you won't need to use that entrance contraption. She was the only one who knew the answer to this epitaph's riddle, and the only key to this place was now hers. At this point, she truly was the master of this golden VIP room. You are already the master of Rakanjima. You have the right to know all of this island's secrets. We should talk about Kuadorian too. That's the mansion your mother lived in. I'm sure you've heard rumors about it. Kuadorian? There are 2 mansions on this island, one at either end. One is the mansion we know well. The other is a hidden mansion known as Kuadorian. Below this island are the remains of a military base, built during the war. The master used that to travel between the 2 ends of the island. There is an underground path in the back of this room, and if you follow, reach the base of the Kuadorian at the other end of this island. That is a secret mansion which only the master knew of. Of course, that mansion also now belongs to the new head. It's the mansion your mother lived in. It will probably be worth taking a trip over there sometime. My mother? I've lived alone my whole life. The only person I've ever felt like calling mother is Kumasawa-san, who always helped me out. So there's a mansion where a mother I've never met nor seen lived. Who exactly am I? Ask any questions you wish. You now deserve to know everything. Right now, I'm feeling very confused. I don't even know where I should start asking questions, but I'm sure I'll think of plenty of things to ask about. When I do, please tell me. As you wish. Also, being treated so respectfully like that is a bit uncomfortable. I'd be happier if you could talk to me the same way you always done. If that is what you wish, then I will do so. Oh, that's easier for me too. Well now, what will we do now, Genji-san? Kinzo-san is dead. I will tell Kraus-sama and Madame that he passed away. Then we must tell them that Leon-sama is the official successor to the headship. After all, from this point forth, you are the Ushiromiya family head. Me as the head? And isn't Kraus-sama the successor? The one who solves the epitaph's riddle is the successor. There exists a will specifying this much. The master's final order was that you were to inherit everything. But please wait! I appreciate the sentiment, but I can't do the job of being the successor, and I can't accept such a big responsibility. I think it would be better for Kraus-sama to inherit that role. Are you certain? Today, I have learned who I am. Everyone knows about their parents, but I didn't since the time of my birth, and here today I finally learned the truth. That alone is enough for me. If I suddenly became the Ushiromiya family head, how would Kraus-sama react? How angry would Madame be? You know, the woman who tried to fucking abort you. I don't want to become the head if it means making them feel that way. Fuck them! Why don't your feelings fucking matter? Today I learned who I am. Who gave birth to me, how and when. These are things I want to learn from them as time goes by. That alone is enough. I am Leon. And I am the Golden Witch Beatrice. Knowing that is enough for me. I don't plan on calling myself the head. Kraus-sama can take that job. Is that your order as the Ushiromi family head? Yes. As you wish, master. Then I will make it so. And please don't tell anyone about what happened tonight. I want to stay me. There's nothing I'd want to do with the Ushiromiya headship or the gold. I want to wait here on this island as I have done in the past. I want everything to be exactly the same as it was. That's my only wish. As you wish, master. Everything that has happened tonight will not go beyond those present here. Kumasawa, Dr. Nanjo, and that is the wish of the new head. If that's what you want, I have no objections. Kinzo-san's will entrusted everything to you. If this is what you want to do, none of us will complain. You say exactly the same as it was, but do you really mean exactly the same with no differences at all? Yes. We'll keep this a secret. This place and the gold will be sealed away. If I need money, I'll ask you about it then. That's enough for me. As you wish. The device leading to this place and the key both belong to you, and all of us swear to keep the events of this night a secret. Kraus-sama will be the successor, but in my heart you will be the only true successor. As you have ordered, we will behave the same way we always have. But please, order us whenever it suits you. You are my only master. Thank you very much. A vast mountain of gold, and the ring of the Ushiromi family head, the dress of the portrait Beatrice, and I became the true Beatrice, the Golden Witch, right here in my very own golden land. If I think about it, not much has actually changed. After all, I've always been the Golden Witch. I've just had a few more people acknowledge that. November 29th, the day I became a true witch. And slightly about 11 months before the incident. Oh, I am one, yet many. I am the Golden Witch Beatrice, the true ruler of Rakanjima, and the possessor of endless gold, and yet I am in no way complete. I await the return of the one person I love. That is the end of my tale. Oh, is that all? But aren't the next 2 years pretty fun? We don't need them. After all, we've heard in the past games about your inner conflict and how you suffered. You don't need to say any more. You mean the conflict of the furniture with incomplete souls? There was a duel. The result had almost been decided. However, the year 1986 was incredibly merciless. I'll bet you cursed your fate. Yes, if it had been 1 year sooner, or else 1 year later, the duel would have been settled. The way it got settled would have been different. Silently, Claire hung her head. If only I had been given time, or else if I hadn't been given time to worry. I hate everything. Why did it have to be 1986? I decided to abandon control over everything. Abandon control? Like the ceremony in which I inherited everything from the previous head. I decided to abandon myself to the fate known as a miracle. It may be more accurate to say that I abandoned myself to the choice of the roulette. We could not even decide our own fate. So we let the fate decide everything for us. Perhaps one of us will find what we seek, what they seek. Or perhaps all will be joined and released. Or perhaps someone will put a stop to this folly. No matter which fate the roulette chose, I planned to obey its ruling. I will not resist fate. After all, whenever I have tried in the past, fate has always been heartless to me. Claire hung her head and let a single tear drop down. Humans will carelessly say that people possess infinite possibilities. However, the Endless Witch knows how limited those possibilities really are. So out of her limited fate, she tried to create the infinite. By entrusting her fate to God, she tried to create the infinite. However, this did not mean that she was resigned to her fate. She spun the roulette of fate with an unshakable and certain will. A certain fate where absolutely no one could escape if the epitaph was not solved. She sealed off the island with it, herself included. October 4th and 5th, 1986 were sealed away by an absolute and certain will, and she abandoned herself to that sort of short span of time, and the one fate out of many that would be chosen on that island. And now my confession is over. Isn't that enough to place my motive for the crime? If you still do not know, I will say no more. It's not as though anyone could understand my heart anyway. Yeah, there's no need to say any more.